Hey gang, how's it going? Todd Nauck here. Thanks for joining me for my latest art live stream here. So today is September 21st, 2019, and from what I understand, today is considered Batman Day, the day that we got Batman 80 years ago today, apparently. So I want to say thanks so much for tuning in. We're going to draw Batman. We're going to put a picture of Batman on here. We'll just see how much we can get done. I don't know how long this video will go for. I don't know how much art I can get done, but at least we'll get the pencils, maybe some inks. So I'll try to share my tips and tricks as I draw, and I'll try to answer some of your questions while I draw, but a lot of my focus goes into the art. So I do apologize if I can't respond to everyone's post, but I do appreciate everyone posting. So welcome everyone. Let's flip the camera around and let's get to drawing. Just got to readjust the rig here. One moment. Favorite Batman story? I'd probably say The Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller's graphic novel from the, what was it, 1985, 86? That's a pretty legendary story. Definitely one of my favorites. All right, so let's see. So for Batman, let's see. I got a piece of 9x12 Canson recycled Bristol board here. Before I get to drawing, favorite Batman artist? I would probably say some of my favorites. Besides Frank Miller, I'd say Alan Davis and Todd McFarlane are two of my favorites. Loved what they did on Batman Year 1, Year 2. So let's just like to take a little scratch sheet of paper and kind of work out some poses real quick. Just real quick thumbnail. These are called thumbnail drawings because they're so small. They're about the size of a thumbnail. So I'm using a 0.3 lead, HB lead, mechanical pencil. This one's an Uni Kuratoga mechanical pencil. There's a picture of him standing. Drop some cape through here. This just kind of warms things up. Kind of helps me start to get an idea of what I want to do for the finished piece. This one's a bit more of an action shot. So I put the head there. Shoulders fall behind that, down to the chest, down to the abdomen. Twist the spine a little bit. So if the chest is facing this way, the pelvic area will face a little bit opposite direction. If the left arm's coming forward, then I want the right leg coming forward. It's called contrapposto. So whatever arm is forward, the opposite leg will come forward. So whatever arm is back, the opposite leg goes back. You don't want the same arm and leg. You don't want both left arm and left leg going forward. That is a bit unappealing. Doesn't look natural because that's not really how we walk or run. One of him crouching here. So real quick, just real quick sketches. Just kind of gives me an idea of what I might want to do here on the board. What did I call this? This is called a thumbnail sketch, a rough thumbnail sketch. Just put that off to the side there. Let's go with the, my Pilot Color Eno red lead pencil here. Just thought it might be fun to work with this one instead. So I'm just going to start to rough in the shapes here. Actually, I don't like where I placed that head. So just real lightly kind of throwing in the shapes here. So I got the pecs, shoulder, upper arm, down to the forearm, down to his fist. It's just real light, rough shapes here. I'll tighten up as I go, as I start to build. Things will get tighter and tighter, step by step. As a kid, I used to draw tight artwork, you know, it was like elementary school, junior high, I guess even into my art college days, just drawing finished artwork as soon as pencil hit the paper. It's very frustrating. The more I learn to just, one, learn the shapes, know the shapes, break down the shapes, and do things in stages, then I found my artwork got a lot looser. There's more, my artwork wasn't as, the characters weren't as stiff, because I wasn't trying to do finished product with line one, but learning how to go through the steps of get the shapes down, build up that energy. And let things tighten up as we go, step by step, bit by bit. Those finish lines will come in time. Bat logo right there on the chest, keeping in mind the foreshortening, since his right pec is further away from us than his left pec, then this left side of the bat will be a bit bigger because there's more real estate, and then it's moving further away from us. Gonna give him a big old bat utility belt. Like a big utility belt there for big pouches. Hold a lot of gear in there. As I go, I can see where I need to adjust things, you know, because I want to give him a bit broader shoulders. He's a bigger guy, you know, he works out. I wouldn't, you know, don't want him to be like, wouldn't be as big as Thor, but I'd probably see him as a bit bigger than, like a bit bulkier than maybe like a Captain America. Not by much, though. Not by much. Wouldn't be a significant difference. And this is just my personal opinion. Yours may vary. Someone asked if I like the new X-Men books. If you're referring to, what is it, House of X and Power of 10? Yes, I've been reading those. I'm all up to date. And I am enjoying it. Looking forward to the new X-Men series coming out. Very excited about that. Just broadening that shoulder a bit. It's going to start to work on the cape here. Kind of let the cape drape over those those parts of his arms there. Over his shoulder and bicep and tricep a bit. So we're kind of looking up at him a bit. Like the camera's a little low and we're kind of looking up at him. So like he's looking down at us. Maybe like where the crook he just took down. And he's standing over us. So you can see here from those initial light sketches I put in, things are really starting to hone in more and more and more. This will stay on YouTube, right? Yes, if there's no glitch with the app, then this should stay on my YouTube. Just, should go right, stay on my YouTube as a rewatchable video. I try to keep all my live videos rewatchable, keep them on my channel for people to come back and watch, rewatch, share. So yeah. So unless there's unless something technologically goes seriously wrong, then there should be no reason why this wouldn't be stay on my channel. And you can rewatch a lot of pretty much all my other live streams. This is live stream number 26, so there's 25 prior live streams. You hear that I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan? Yes, I'm a native Texan. Grew up in and around the Dallas area, so Dallas is my home team. I do root for the Cowboys. And we're entering week 3 of the NFL 2019 season, and the Cowboys are 2-0. So I think we are the division leaders for the NFC East. So hopefully they can keep on top of that. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me as I draw today. Hopefully you get some good tips and tricks here to apply to your art. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please feel free to do so you don't miss out on future art videos and live streams. So good to be back with y'all. Been working some crazy deadlines of late. Doing some really fun stuff for Marvel Comics. They've been announcing some more of the covers I've drawn for them recently here. So stay tuned to my social media as I post more of those covers that have been announced and when they get announced, as well as comic book projects. All my social media links will be in the video description below here after the broadcast. Now I want to start to work in the face here on Batman. So work out the eye line, the nose line, which I was kind of already doing with the cowl there, and then the mouth line, which if y'all aren't aware, when you have the shape of your head, the top of the head to the chin, midway, that's the eye line. Midway from the eye to the chin is the nose line. Midway from the nose line to the chin is the mouth line, generally. These are general guidelines. All depending on the person's shape of the face. You can always adjust these facial feature placements depending on the person's face that they have. If their eyes are set a little higher or a little wider, or their nose is significantly longer or shorter, you adjust from there, up or down, as needed. So you get the other hand going on over here. So we have this arm tucked. Tucked in right here. A little foreshortening here of this forearm. This is only going to be a half figure. I just want to get a little bit of the upper thighs roughed in. Actually, I think that fist is a little too big. So we're just going to make it a little smaller, just so it's a little more in proportion. There, I like that a bit better. Bring the outer edges of the cape around. Some of the folds of the cape. Okay, I still have to finish some parts of his face here. Just get an idea of where the ears might be. Bottom lip. Center from the middle of the eyes down to the chin. Kind of shows me where I want the edges of his mouth to be. Hone in that nose. It's kind of triangular, you know, you got the center part. This is the forehead here, the brow. All right, so I've roughed in things pretty well here. Yeah, I've got pretty much everything figured out where it needs to be for the most part. Okay. Let's I think we're just going to jump right into inks. What do y'all say? Because these rough pencils are fairly tight. These are just about tight enough for me to work off of. I might tighten some things up with graphite pencil as I go, where needed, where necessary. So I'm just going to jump right into inks here. So I'm going to use the what are these? The Pigmamicrons. Pigmamicrons. Use these all the time. I don't know why I was blanking on what these are called. So I'm using the 01 right now. It's a bit of a fine point here initially. Can always go darker, or thicker, I should say. Can always make the lines thicker as needed. Like, let's push in here a little tighter so you can see more of the details of the face and the inks as I go. Actually, let me adjust the camera a little bit. There we go. Gonna do a long-eared Batman here. It's kind of a fun thing about Batman, and like with Batman, sometimes he has long ears, sometimes he has shorter ears. Like with Spider-Man, sometimes he's got big eyes, sometimes he's got the more smaller, slender eyes. So now I keep in mind all the details of the costume as I draw here. What version of Batman is this? Great question. That's actually a really, really great question. I think I kind of default to like the 80s blue and gray Batman, because that was the one I grew up with. So that's the one that's strongest in my mind's eye. The guy has like 17,000 different looks, designs, costumes between the comics, the movies, the TV show, cartoons, and action figures. This guy probably has the most costumes of any superhero. Iron Man has lots of suits. Yes, he does. Totally agree. Spider-Man has lots of suits. But for Batman, just based on action figures alone, I think puts him well over the top for having the most variations of his uniform. I mean, there's not just regular Batman. I mean, if you just want regular Batman costumes, he probably has like 20 or 30 there. But then if you consider all his action figure adventure variations like Arctic Batman, Scuba Batman, Pirate Batman, Cowboy Batman, Medieval Times Batman. Batman got lots and lots of looks. Hulk has the least. Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with you there. Actually, I would say Silver Surfer has the absolute least. Because Hulk has his torn pants. He's worn a uniform once or twice. But Silver Surfer, he just has silver body. That's it. Nothing more. Now I switched over here to the 0.8 micron for thicker, broader lines. Batman is always prepared. Yes, yes he was. Yes he is. He must have been in Boy Scouts as a youth. Those of you who were in the Boy Scouts, you know what I'm talking about. The Boy Scout motto. You enjoy my work on Instagram? Well, thank you so much. Thanks for following me on Instagram. I post tons of stuff there. Thanks for the follow. What are my thoughts on Robert Pattinson as Batman? You know, to be honest, hadn't thought much about it. But I do hope he does well with that. I think it's a great chance for him to do something new. You know, kind of break past that that sparkly vampire role. I wish him well. I hope he does really well with it. And is able to really stretch his legs, do something really cool. Do I want the blue and gray Batman suit for the new Batman movie? Personally, I would enjoy that. Absolutely. One, because that's the Batman suit I grew up with as a kid and teenager. And so that'd be number one reason. Number two, it'd be nice to get some color into a Batman movie. Let's get the guy who fights in the shadows. You know, stop wearing black. I can't see you, man. Wearing all black and fighting in the shadows at nighttime does not allow me to see as much as I would like to see in a superhero movie. I mean, it's totally understandable for the nature of the character and the grim, gritty, dark Gotham streets and alleyways. I mean, it makes sense. It makes complete sense. I don't fault Batman for the stories for that. But I gotta tell you, I enjoy a superhero movie that has some bright colors and action in the daytime. You can really see what's going on. Or I can really see what's going on. So it'd be nice to have Batman in something a little that pops off the screen a little bit more visually amongst the shadows and nighttime. But I doubt they'd use the blue and gray uniform for the movie. I certainly don't fault them for that. Let's see, I need to make sure I know right where my bat is. If I have the center of his chest right there, make sure the bat falls as close to center as possible. Of course, now, if there was sort of to be the blue and gray costume, that would not be the blue and gray costume bat. Let me take a quick peek here at some reference. Make sure I draw the right logo for the... Yeah, this should be more of an... Oh, this should have the oval. And then the bat curves around the inside of the oval. What do I do when I make ink mistakes? Well, after a significant time of crying, I then, I'm joking there. I don't cry that much. I'm going to use my ellipse template here to get a clean oval going. It depends on the mistake. Every mistake is different, so every solution is different. If I'm drawing my regular comic book work, my comic book pages, I'll just use whiteout and just keep rolling. But if it's for a commission style piece, not unlike a piece like this, where I will hopefully have time to take this to full color, can't really put whiteout on there. I mean, you can, but I would prefer not to, because it would just look kind of bad. It would kind of stand out too much. You'd definitely see, oh, there's a big chunk of whiteout. So I try to avoid that if possible. Sometimes I can hide the mistake with a heavy shadow. Just incorporate the mistake into the art. So it all depends on what that mistake is. There have been times where I've made such a big mistake, I have to start over completely. And that's when I'm crying. And I say that metaphorically. I'm crying metaphorically. So just putting a bit of a buffer here on these points, because I'm going to come back and fill in this spot black a little later on with the brush pen. Great. I want to make sure there's a nice thick border so that I can keep all the black in line, inside the lines. So what is y'all's favorite version of Batman? Which era? Which costume? Whether it be the comics, the TV show, the movies. Oops, sorry, that part wasn't on screen. Just drawing the back side of his arm and the cape there. So what's your Lego? Lego Batman is awesome. I totally agree. Will Arnett as Lego Batman is perfect. So funny, so good. Batman animated series, yes. The Tim Burton, Bruce Timm cartoon Batman is fantastic. Nightfall Batman, right on. That's is that one after he got better from having his back broken? After Bane broke his back in 1993? Isn't that Nightfall Batman? I get confused. There's so many. So many. Rebirth, right on. Neil Adams, yes, legendary. Red Death Batman Flash. Not familiar with that one so much. Batman Beyond, yes, Batman Beyond is quite good. Totally agree about Batman Beyond. Batfleck, Ben Affleck Batman, right on. Scott Snyder's run on Batman, excellent. Year one Batman, yes. I dig Year One as well. Flashpoint, right on. Darwin Cook's Batman Ego is pretty great, yeah. What are these tiny lines I'm adding? I'm not sure which ones you're referring to, unfortunately. I've thrown in so many tiny lines. If we talk about these little lines, these are just little hash marks, little cross hatching. Just a little detailing here. Let's see, where do I want to go to next? Oh, I should probably start to work on that belt since it overlaps. Jim Lee and Greg Capullo. Yes, they are both incredibly awesome at drawing Batman. Definitely fantastic stuff. Legendary stuff. Absolutely. So I'm using a French curve here to get a nice smooth curved line. Who's my favorite Robin? Well, my first Robin was Dick Grayson. And he was the only Robin really around when I started reading. Didn't really get to know Jason Todd because he kind of came and went before I started reading comics as a teenager. But I would say, I'd say initially it would be Dick Grayson until I started doing work on the original Young Justice comic. And I worked with Tim Drake every day for 5 years. So I really got to know that character and really grew to love that character a lot. So I'd have to say my favorite Robin is Tim Drake because of all the time I spent working with that character. He became a very personal experience for me. Became very connected with him because I was telling stories starring him, featuring him. So I have to give it to Tim Drake as my favorite Robin. Thanks for the kind words, everybody. Appreciate that. Who are y'all's favorite Robins? Now that we've discussed favorite Batmans, who's your favorite Robin? Favorite person who has been Robin? Favorite Robin costume? If you want to go that route. Your favorite is Jason Todd because he becomes the Red Hood. Right on. Yes, Red Hood is a very popular take for him. Burt Ward. Right on. Robin 1966. Classic. Damien. Chris O'Donnell. Right on. Red Robin. Yes, bottomless French fries. I'm with you there, man. Other restaurants have had to follow suit because of Red Robin introducing the concept of bottomless French fries. Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, right on. Carrie Kelly, yes, Carrie Kelly is great. Totally agree. Lee Bermejo's Robin, right on. Yeah, Lee's a great guy. Fantastic artist, too. Gonna flip this all the way around so I can get this right angle on this right fist. And when I say right angle, I mean correct angle, not like a geometric right angle. Stan Lee Robin. Did Stan Lee do anything with Robin? I know there was that back in the early 2000s. There was the late 90s, early 2000s. Stan Lee kind of did the Stan Lee creates the DC universe, where he did his own take on all the DC universe characters, like the Stan Lee Superman, Stan Lee Batman. So I wouldn't put it past him to have a Stan Lee Robin. I'm just not familiar with it. What tools do I typically use to fill in the heavy black areas when drawing? I use a Pentel Pocket Brush Pen most of the time. That's my go-to. Appreciate y'all hanging out with me. Hope you're having a good time. Let's go put some seams here on this on his utility belt pouches. Gonna throw some underwear on the outside here, because, you know, this is blue and gray Batman. So it's from the time where he wore his underwear out on the outside like any good DC superhero. Start to work in parts of his cape here. Tips on construction of the human figure. Right on. Hopefully you'll get a chance to go back and catch the beginning of this broadcast where I'm breaking down this this Batman, or you can check out some of my other videos. Try to share as many tips as I can as I break the figure down. So you're going to keep it at this angle, get some of these inner cape wrinkles. Drawn in. All right, just a few more lines here, and maybe we can go to color in this video. Are y'all good to stick around for color? Yes, yes. Lots of E's and S's in that one. Yes, 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 please do. Okay, cool, cool. Well, if y'all are down, then let's keep this party rocking, huh? Yes, this will be gray and blue Batman. My childhood fave. And plus, you don't get to see gray and blue Batman as much nowadays. Just a few more details here and there. So we're really going to light this thing up with color here real soon. Going to bring in a lot of the shape and form through color. Okay. Just a few more little details here. Switched over to the 005. Just clicking on my pens closed now, since we're pretty much done with the ink stage. I'm going to pull the camera back a little bit so I can get a little What brand of pens were these? These were Pigma Micron pens. The 08, the 01, and the 005. I'm going to use my Art Gum Kneaded Eraser. Knead. ED, kneaded, like you knead bread, not N-E-E-D, like I need a vacation. So you just kind of stretch it out, refresh it, and now we can go in here and erase. Alternatives for Copics if you're on a budget. Yeah, check out my my live stream just prior to this one, episode 025. I use some Arteza art markers. They're definitely more affordable than Copics. If you don't have $300 to $500 to spend on Copic markers, then the Arteza markers are still, you know, they're good. They're not, I'm going to say that they don't offer a sketch marker, unfortunately, yet. They don't offer a sketch marker like Copic has. So, but their regular Everblend markers, they blend pretty well. I think you can get good quality work done, and they're a good starter marker, you know, that one on a budget can get before they can, you know, that they can work with, so that before they graduate to Copic markers. And hopefully Arteza will offer a sketch marker, because I think they said they had one in the works. So I hope they're able to start offering those soon, because I'd love to try playing with their sketch marker and see how it compares to Copics. But you can see what I did with a Spider-Man illustration with using the Arteza markers, and then there's a link to those markers that I used in that sponsored video in the video description. So that's the only other of blending marker I have used that I can comment on, because based on experience. All right, so we got most of the line art pulled out there. That's the thing about using the red marker, is that it doesn't come all the way off of the board, but I'm okay with that, to have a little bit of the underdrawing showing underneath. This is just sketching for fun here. All right, I'm going to fill that in black later on, but now's not the time to fill that in yet. I'm going to grab my Copic markers now. Okay. Markers here. And, oops. Okay, there we are. So I see a comment, so we're still live. Good, good, good. So let's start with the skin tones here on Batman. Go start with some E01. Just a few spots here, like underneath the nose, underneath the lip, underneath the chin, down the sides of his face. It's just a little bit of the E01. I'm going to come in with the E00. I like to keep a scratch sheet of artboard. There's a script. Get a fresh one here. Sorry, gang. So I like to use a comic book backing board, the matte side, not the glossy side. Never the glossy side, just the matte side here. And then I can test my markers to make sure they're not overly filled, or make sure there's no ink or graphite inside them that might make a smudge or smear. Do I use red lead on my official comic work? No, I do not. I pretty much, now I pencil my comics digitally, and then I ink traditionally by printing out my digital pencils on blue line onto the Bristol board. But if I let me start that sentence over again. If I ever do need to pencil traditionally, I still use a Pilot Eno mechanical pencil, but I have a light blue one here that I use. That and a graphite pencil, my Uni Kuratoga pencil. I use those for my traditional penciling if I ever need to work strictly traditionally. All right, so that's some E00 there on Batman's face. Gonna put in a little bit of, just a little bit of pink. Some R11 here into the lips, or at least the bottom lip. A little bit onto the chin. And cut into the cheeks just a little bit. Don't want too much. Now let's go ahead and put in the yellows. So I'm going to start with some, I like to work dark to light. So I'm going to start with some Y21. Y21? Why not 21? The dad jokes are free, everybody, so no extra charge for the dad jokes. It's my gift to you. And I'm going to lighten that up to one of my favorite yellows, the Y13. And I'm going to just color over the Y21 I put down to blend these colors together. It brings vibrancy, it brings some smooth transition from one color to the next. In almost a watercolor sort of fashion. And now for some Y00 to hit the tops of these pouches, the top of this buckle. I like to blend with the lightest shade or the lighter shades or lightest shade of any color I'm working on. So if it's yellows, blues, reds, whatever it is, I like to use the lightest shade to blend. So, great, now we're on to the grays and the blues. Let's start with the blues. I'm going to work light to dark, so I'm going to start with B05. So I'm putting my light source from above and to our right. So it's going to be darker on that side of his nose. Oops. Make sure I'm still on camera. So I'm keeping in mind the shapes as best I can of where the light is hitting. Dark blue, please. It won't be too dark. We're going classic 80s Batman blue and gray here, so it's not going to be like it's not going to be like a navy blue, if that's the kind of dark blue you're referring to. Hopefully you'll like what you see here. Can I make a Todd Nauck art challenge with Batman? I'm sure I'll do a challenge with Batman in it someday. Not sure what day that will be, but stay tuned to my art challenges. Keep participating. And maybe one day you'll see Batman show up as a character in the art challenge. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, swing by my Instagram and check out the second post on my Instagram feed. I do a thing called Todd Nauck Art Challenge, where I give you a character and an object, and you've got to draw that however your creativity dictates. So previous art challenges all started with Spider-Man and a pizza, which then led to, I believe it was Flash and a trash can, which was followed by the Hulk and a chicken. And then I decided, well, you know what, let's try drawing a female character. How about Supergirl and a lamp? And the most recent one has just gone up on my Instagram, and as of a few days ago. And the most recent one is currently Skeletor from Masters of the Universe. Y'all know who Skeletor is, right? Skeletor and a baby. And yeah, so do your rendition of Skeletor and a baby and post it using the Todd Nauck Art Challenge hashtag. And maybe I'll add yours to my Instagram story. Okay, so we're still working with this B05 right now. Going to put a lot of B05 here on the inside of the cape. So this is just my initial darker shade of blue. We'll come in with a B04 here in a little bit, and then maybe a little B02 to follow. You hope to see me do some videos of Masters of the Universe characters. That may happen someday. No plans at the moment, but it may happen someday in the future. Appreciate everyone tuning in here on this Saturday for Batman's 80th anniversary, Batman Day, September 21st. Here in 2019, it's the 80th anniversary of Batman. This year is also the 80th anniversary of Marvel Comics. Marvel Comics, the first Marvel comic, Marvel Comics #1, back when it was Timely, the publisher was called Timely Comics, put out Marvel Comics #1 here in 1939. And I guess the first appearance of Batman in Detective Comics 27 came out in 1939. My apologies, 1939 as well. So it's hard to believe it's been 80 years. Okay, so that was the B. Oops, got to do his underwear. So again, I'm always thinking about the shapes, the planes and the angles of whatever part of the costume or his body that I'm drawing. So right now I'm putting this darker shade on the bottom sides of whatever it is I'm drawing. Roughly the bottom sides, because I'm working from dark to light, so I'm working towards the light source. Which, as we established, is kind of coming from this direction. So now for some B04. Going to blend in this slightly lighter shade of blue. If you just tuned in, I'm drawing the vintage, or at least classic, I don't know, I'd say vintage, maybe that was the wrong word. The classic, for me, 80s blue and gray Batman. I think this was kind of his look in the 70s as well, but I wasn't really reading comics in the 1970s. I was too little then. I started reading comics in the mid-1980s. So like the fingers here, I'm thinking about the planes. Like planes as in like the geometrical term. Because the fingers go up and then they go over. So this is one side, that's another. So I'm keeping these top parts of his fingers lighter because more light would hit those parts of his fingers rather than the underside. Same there with his forearm. So I just think about this every section of Batman. Now here into the Chone Zone. I'm going to think about where's that light hitting and leaving some white space open for an even lighter shade of blue to come. Hopefully I'm keeping everything on screen. I get so into what I'm drawing, I'm not always paying attention to where the camera is, or where the art is in the camera frame. Might be a better way to structure that sentence. So like leaving some open areas here in the knuckles. And down the centers of his finger there, come in with that even lighter shade of blue a little bit later on. As soon as I'm done with this round of B04. Okay. Maybe just a little bit more. Now for some B02, still in the B0 family. Just going to start blending all these blues together. So you can see the kind of the delineation from the darker blue to the lighter blue. Man, seeing this all this blue on Batman's cowl and cape, knowing that the gray is coming, it's really making me nostalgic. It's like I'm remembering all the times I read Batman comics as a kid in the 1980s, playing with heck, I had Batman toys as a little kid in the 1970s. Like the Mego Batman action figure was one of my very first toys I remember playing with. That and Fisher-Price toys. But Batman, I loved my Batman action figure. Then I got the Spider-Man one. Oh my gosh, that was such an awesome Christmas when I got the Spider-Man Mego action figure. I had Batman. My sister had Robin, but I pretty much took possession of Robin. She didn't really care to play with him that much. So I had Batman, Robin, the Joker, and the Batmobile from the Mego toy line. And then I got Spider-Man. And I was just over the moon to get Spider-Man. Because Batman and Robin, they were just there. I never remembered asking for a Batman and Robin toy. They were just always there. My parents just always bought me Batman and Robin toys, which I was cool with. I think that kind of started my love for superheroes. But Spider-Man was the first one I discovered, and it's like, Mom, Dad, I want him. I want Spider-Man. Are you sure? Yes. Yes. I want Spider-Man. Totally remember the Christmas that I got him. Totally remember seeing him sticking out of the Christmas stocking. I think there's even a photo. I think my parents have a photo of that Christmas morning, and you can see Spider-Man in the stocking. When I go visit my family for Christmas, I'm going to ask my parents if they can find that photo. Maybe I'll share it on my Instagram. That was a very, very pivotal day for me and starting me on my fandom, or really solidifying, let me just say that again, solidifying my fandom of Spider-Man. I think I was 4 years old. All right, so that's all the blues. I'm going to come in with some grays later on for more realistic shadowing. But for now, that's all the blues I need here for Batman. Now for the grays. And the gray of Batman, should I do cool gray or neutral gray? I'm going to do a test here. When in doubt, do a test. So a little C4, which would then lighten up to a C2. It's looking pretty good. But what if I used neutral? Would neutral, is that the more accurate gray? Little N4, neutral 4, to a little neutral 2. It could go either way. It could really go either way. I'm going to go with cool gray because that looks more like what I remembered as a kid. So we're going to, when in doubt, black it out. Yes, thank you, Wally Wood. The Wally Wood, legendary comic artist, cartoonist, Wally Wood, had a lot of little sayings, a lot of little tricks for drawing comics, a lot of shorthand stuff, and one is, from what I understand, from the Todd McFarlane Stan Lee Greats video from the 1990s. That's where I first heard Wally Wood's Todd McFarlane quoting Wally Wood's phrase, when in doubt, black it out. So I'm starting with some cool gray 5 here. Doing the initial dark tones, again working from dark to light, so the underside of all these portions of Batman. And just keep working lighter, lighter, lighter. Keep working towards the light. Go to the light. Which, if you just tuned in, we established is coming pretty much from above and to the right just a little bit. It's almost a default light source for me for these types of sketches. At this point now, we're moving beyond a sketch and into full-blown illustration. Through the leg muscles there. Don't skip leg day, everybody. What part would be further away from the light? It's kind of just your rule of thumb. Or what overlaps something else. That's where your darker colors and or shadows more than likely would go. Okay, so that's round 1. Round 2, let's come in with some cool gray 4. So just going over that cool gray 5 with the cool gray 4, continuing to move toward the light. I got a sneeze coming on. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. Are these Arteza markers? Number 1, thanks for joining me. 2, no, these are Copic sketch markers. But Arteza markers can be a very affordable selection if one doesn't have the budget. You know, if you don't have $300 to $500 to spend on a set of Copic markers, then yeah, a $70, $100 Arteza set is a far more affordable alternative as you build up your art skills. Now, mind you, they don't offer a sketch marker yet, one with a brush tip. I love the brush tips. Use them almost exclusively on my Copic sketch markers. But but their regular fine point markers with the broad chisel tip as well are still a nice alternative. And the people at Arteza had mentioned to me that they were working on getting a sketch tip, brush tip marker going, making one available. So hopefully that will be soon. And if they send me a set, I'll be sure to do a video on it. And we can see how they work. All right, so much fun to put the colors in and really see things come to life. So now we're going to power down to a cool gray 3. It's the next step down. Gonna need to refill these cool grays after this illustration. Got New York Comic Con coming up in a couple of weeks. About a week and a half before I leave for New York. And if you're going to be at New York Comic Con, all my convention info is on toddnauck.com, and there will be updates to my New York Comic Con booth appearances. So stay tuned to my website if you're going to the con and you want to know which booths I'll be appearing at. But you can definitely find me at my Artist Alley table, which I don't think I've added to my website just yet, so I'll need to make an update there. But my table is E as in everybody go see Todd at New York Comic Con. E8. The Ocho. And my colorist, Rochelle Rosenberg, will be at table E7. The convention's always kind enough to seat us next to each other, so since she colors most of my work the past 5 years at Marvel, if you have our comics we've done, covers we've done, you can get us both to sign them. Boom, boom, we're both right there. All right, so that gets our grays in. Grays on his anatomy. So you see we have grays anatomy. So like I said, gang, the dad jokes are free. No extra charge for the dad jokes. I am passing the savings on to you. See a few spots I missed some blue, so I'm going to grab that B02 again. Okay. Now I want to start adding some gray shadowing into Batman here. So I will start with some cool gray 1 for the skin tone. So as you see, as the gray starts to cut in there, it brings a more realistic shadowing. And that gray ink reacts with the skin tone ink I just laid down. So I'm going to go at the bottom of the chin, just under the lip, just under the nose. Notice how it's all the places are under. That's the rule of thumb. So that's some cool gray 1. I'm going to bring in a little cool gray 2 just for a few darker places. Like on that side of the face, maybe just under the nose, just under that lip. And now for some of this cool gray for the yellow. I'm still going to fill in that bat black in a little bit, not just yet. Don't want to risk the ink smearing or smudging. So I'm using cool gray 2 on these on the yellows here. So on the bottom sides and on the side away from the light source, underneath those flaps. bottom of the belt, bottom of the buckle. See how it starts to create some depth there? See, let's come in with some cool gray 4 for the blue parts. So let's push in here on the face just a little bit. Oops, let me steady the camera, so sorry. So I'm going to put some grays right here underneath his eyes. It's really going to help create some depth here on this side of his head, because remember, above and to the left a little bit. So this side of the bat ear, casting a shadow onto his head, like that. This side of the nose, let's put some of this gray in. See how it really starts to give a 3D effect to the nose there? If you're ever in doubt of, like, where's the shadow, take a flashlight and go into the bathroom, you know, turn off the light if you need to, but put the flashlight on your face and study where the shadows are falling. Or maybe have a friend or family member pose for you where you can, it's like, hey, let me shine this flashlight on your face. I need to see where the angles are. Ask their permission and do not shine the light in their eyes. Do be kind and courteous to your models. Treat them appropriately. Treat them how you'd want to be treated. Don't shine the light right in their eyes. It hurts. A lot of gray up underneath there, underneath the cape. Some gray here on the sides of the fingers, definitely underneath the back side of the hand, because remember this part here, further away from the light. And not too much on the little, what do you call those, little bat fringes? I know there's a technical term for those things, but not too much because I'm going to use more of this gray under on the back side of the cape. So I want that dark to make those little bat, what are they called? I don't like the word fringe. It doesn't feel like that's the right word for it. Scallops? The bat scallops? Well, it works for me. The bat scallops, and unless someone has an even better word than scallops. Gauntlets? The whole thing is gauntlet. I'm talking about the little parts that stick off there. These little parts. I don't think I think gauntlet is for the whole, would be for the whole team. Spikes? Yeah, spikes. Spikes might be an even better word. These spiky scallops, which is one of my favorite dishes at Red Lobster. No, that's the spicy scallops. The blades? Yeah, those are good terms as well. Still not the one I'm thinking of, or I thought bat stabbies. I think we have a winner. The bat stabbies. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Bat stabbies. So the bat stabbies, does he ever use those offensively or defensively? Or I've always seen them as more of a how do you say, cosmetic aspect of his costume rather than having a function. But then again, maybe I just haven't seen or read a story where he has used his bat stabbies, spiky scallops, spiky scallop. Okay, we got too many terms going on here, gang. Oh my gosh. Just said scallions. Oh dear. Bat fins. I like bat fins. Fins. Yeah. Maybe fins was the word I was looking for. Fins seems to be the closest. Though I don't know if anything could be better than bat stabbies. That's going to be a tough one to beat, even no matter if it's right or wrong. Just like the sound and idea of bat stabbies. All right, so that puts some grays through the blues. Oh wait, I still missed one part of his cape here. Just gonna pull back a little bit. Stabs? Would these be called stabs? Yeah. I appreciate everyone's suggestions on what those little bat stabbies are called. I'm gonna have a real hard time of letting go of bat stabbies though, gotta tell you. Oops, so sorry gang if I'd slid that off of screen. My apologies. Just punching up a little more gray here through the face. Oh yeah, in Batman Begins he uses them to block Ra's al Ghul's sword. That's right. I'd forgotten about that. You're absolutely right. Yes. Yes, so they are functional. Of course they're functional. Come on, this is Batman. This is Batman. Everything has a function. All right, now I need to put in some shadows for the cool gray parts of his costume, but usually I do my realistic shadows with cool gray, so I'm already working against myself. So we're going to come in with the neutral gray, just as a different shade of gray to add some shadows here for the cool gray portion of his uniform. So this is some neutral 4 I'm using right now. Just all the dark places here in the gray area. Just going to add some of this neutral 4 to give it a bit of a more realistic shadow. Just kind of sculpt with it. Like underneath his cape here. Kind of gives that sense of it overlapping his arms. Definitely here in this underside of his, I guess that'd be his lats there, because that's furthest away from the light source. According to Wikipedia, these are defined as fins or scallops. Someone needs to let someone at Wikipedia know that they are also called bat stabbies. But, can't argue with Wikipedia. You know what Michael Scott says about Wikipedia. Anyone in the world can contribute this knowledge, so you know you're getting the best information out there. Actually, I do use Wikipedia for stuff like that. My wife and I are having a conversation. What was that thing? What was the etymology of this word or this thing, that thing? Who did the what, the with what? Let's go to Wikipedia. Cross-reference it with something else. All right, there we go. So that was some neutral 4. You know, I'll come in with just some neutral 3. I just want to kind of blend in through here, just a smidge. There we go. So let me pull this back just a bit. Whoops. Didn't mean to flip it around. That's my ceiling light. There we go. Didn't realize my handle is right next to the camera flippy button. That is the technical term. Going to bring in a little bit of B000 here through the eyes just to give them a little shape and form. Just a teeny tiny bit. Now what I'd like to do is add a little bit of a background element. So I'm just going to rough this in real quick here with my Unikuratoga mechanical pencil. Let me pull back even further because I'm going to need to use drafting tools here. Everybody. Just going to put in a little bit of a black background shape. So using my T-square now, just line the board up. Pencil in the rectangular shape. Make sure it's where I want it to be. That looks like it works for me. Now I'm going to take my 0.8 micron, my thicker tipped micron. Gotham or black to blue. I will probably do a bit of a fade for this background. Yeah, that's the plan. Let's do a bit of a fade. Don't know if I'll do black to blue because there's so much blue in him. I might do more of kind of a bluish purple or blue violet as my microns are, or not my microns, my, how do you say, Copic sketch markers are labeled as. Not letting these guidelines, these border lines touch Batman himself. Want to maintain a bit of a halo around Batman. So that takes care of that. Let's grab my kneaded eraser again. Pull out these graphite lines. So now we're going to start with black and work our way down. So I like to start dark color and blend down to the lighter color. So using the brush tip, I'm going to very, very carefully bring the color all down to a halo's width around Batman. Takes a lot of care to do this, to get that halo nice and consistent around the character. I know this has been a long live stream, so I want to say thanks to everyone who has stuck around. And if you just joined me, so glad you're here. Hope y'all are having fun. Hope you're having a good Saturday. Hope you're having a good Batman Day as we celebrate 80 years of Batman today. I found out it was Batman Day this morning when I was checking my Twitter. You can find me as @Todd Nauck on Twitter. And I saw that Batman Day was trending. It's like, wait, today is Batman Day? Oh, yeah. And then I find out it's the 80th anniversary of Batman. So how about that? All right, so So I just do about that there. That's about as far down as I want to come with the black. Now I'm going to bring in some BV25, the dark shade of blue violet. And I'm going to let it merge up into that black. I want the blue violet and the black inks to overlap, connect with each other. I want the inks to blend. So we can get a nice gradation, a nice fade. Little tiny bit right over here on that side. So the more I cover the black with this blue violet, the more the ink wants to react to each other and blend together. Just feather it a little bit, and now let's power down to a BV34. BV34. So with this, I go over the previous shade. So there, okay. And now for some BV11. Gonna start it coming through the previous shades, and then down here by his fist. To finish it out. So just a couple of more things that need to be done. Number one is all this time we've been waiting to fill in this bat. Well, now the time has come. Have y'all been waiting this whole time to see this happen? Here it is. Pentel Pocket Brush Pen. And I'm just going to fill in all the black here inside this bat shape. When I have a big black spot to fill like this, it's just easier to do it at the very end. To ensure that we stand a better chance of not having the colors smear that black ink, smear from that black ink. Just going to take a little cool gray 3 here. Just want to beef up some of the shadows underneath his pouches, at the bottom parts of his pouch. Sometimes I'll go in and just add a little more. All right, so let's grab my micron here and autograph this, and this piece will be done. Today is the 21st, right? Today is the 21st, yes. Of September 2019. Boom. Batman. For Batman Day 2019. All right, let's flip the camera around here and I'll try to answer a couple of questions before I sign off. There we go. How's it going, everybody? Let me just plug the phone back into the rig is what I mean to say. There we go. All right. Let me adjust just a smidge there. There we go. Boom. Batman. And now I'll have a shot of this up on my Instagram and Twitter. And if you're watching this on replay here after the live stream, I should have all my social media links in the video description below. So let's see. Did I ever sell that X-Men cover I did here on YouTube? I have not. I have not put a price on that yet, so I have not sold it. Great question. Why did I choose to draw this version of Batman? This is the Batman I grew up with. Blue and gray, 80s Batman. This is the one that I think of. This is the one that lives in my head because I experienced this one at such a young age through my teenage years. What paper is this? This is Canson 9-inch by 12-inch Canson Bristol board, recycled Bristol board. Favorite enemy of Batman? Clayface is pretty awesome. I like Clayface a lot. Harlequin is awesome. Poison Ivy is great. Catwoman's great. Joker's is great. He's got one. Batman and Spider-Man have the best rogues galleries, as far as I can tell. What are my thoughts on the Clip Studio Paint software? Yes, I really enjoy it. I use it on my Wacom Mobile Studio Pro. It's great comic book drawing art program. I really like it. I have not used it for an iPad or any other device. I've only used it for the Wacom, so that's been my only experience with it. I really like it. It's become it's a tool I feel very comfortable and confident with. Can I do more drawings of X-Men Evolution Rogue? Maybe so. Maybe so. Hopefully you've... did I post I did a Periscope live stream of her once a few years ago. I don't know if I put that footage up here on my YouTube channel. Just double check here. What DPI do I scan my artwork at? I scan my artwork at either 300, as low as 300, or as high as 600. For my comic book art that goes to print for Marvel, that's scanned in at 600. Pieces like this that I do personally, I scan these in at 300, and that seems adequate enough for when I print these in my sketchbook type things. Who would I like to see Batman do a crossover with? Oh my goodness. Golly. Batman and Spider-Man? Let's say that. I think Batman and Spider-Man would be cool. What's the type of markers that I use? These are Copic sketch markers. Copic sketch markers. What Batman enemies would I like to see paired up that did not see paired up in films? That's an interesting question. Are we just going with Batman's Rogue Gallery villains or any villains? I need a little more information here before I could answer a question like that. Just tackle a couple more questions. Let's see. What weight is this artboard? Let me check here. Let's see if it says. This is 90 pound. 90 pound Canson artboard. Yes, it does have a tooth. I made a note on here, too rough, because it was a little rougher than what I liked back a couple of years ago. Now I don't seem to mind the tooth as much, so I've been using these more regularly. So 90 pound Bristol board here. Any villains to team up to fight Batman? Is this only DC, or can I pick Marvel villains or any other villain? So yeah, have I ever drawn Shazam? I have drawn some Shazam. Let's see. So we're getting more here. I don't know if this is more clarification, but more people asking what Batman villains paired up. So I'm just going to grab two villains, and let's just say Joker and Magneto. Joker and Magneto. We're going to have a villain crossover. There we go. Hopefully that fits the bill. We'll tackle one or two more questions, and I'll have to sign off. If I had the chance, would I like to work on a Batman comic? Sure, absolutely. If the opportunity arose, I'd love to discuss that with the Bat staff. Am I enjoying the Titans TV show? I don't have a DC Universe account, so I have not been able to see the TV show yet. I know a lot of people say that it's on Netflix. That's only if you live outside of the US. Can you watch it on the international Netflix? It's not here on the Netflix in the US, only on the DC Universe app. Maybe someday if I get the DC Universe account, I'll have a chance to check it out. But I'm behind on every single superhero TV show, every single one. I am seasons behind. So it's going to be tough for me to get caught up on all the TV shows. Just so much content out there. Am I excited for the Superman-Batman crossover on CW? First I'm hearing of it. Because like I said, I am way behind on all of the superhero TV shows. All the CW shows, Supergirl is the only one I've seen all of season 1. And then I've already fallen behind like 2 episodes into season 2. Flash, I'm only into season 1, episode 3. Legends of Tomorrow haven't watched yet. Arrow haven't watched yet. Black Lightning haven't watched yet. So, yeah. Do I like Batfleck? You know, I have not seen any of the movies where Ben Affleck plays Batman, so I can't really, I don't really have an opinion or a comment on that, unfortunately. Just haven't had a chance to see it. Can I do more X-Men Evolution drawings? I hope to. I'd like to. So stay tuned to my social media. You might be seeing an X-Men Evolution character showing up sooner than later. I did do an X-Men Evolution character illustration here recently, so that character may show up on my Instagram in the next week, possibly. No promises, but stay tuned. And maybe I'll do more X-Men Evolution illustrations if fan response warrants, because I gotta say, X-Men Evolution is currently my favorite of all the X-Men cartoons. Just love how it's done. Steve Gordon, friend of mine, did fantastic designs on that show. I love the art style of X-Men Evolution. Love the storyline. Love that they got some deep cut mutants in that, like New Mutants and things like that. Gang, thanks so much for hanging out. We've gone a long time. What, 109 minutes? We've gone almost 2 hours. And if you're watching this after the live stream, or if you're here watching right now during the live stream, please leave me a thumbs up. Please feel free to leave a comment, and please don't forget to subscribe. Easy for me to say. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future art videos and future live streams. Again, I'm going to have a shot of this Batman up here on my social media here today. So make sure you're following me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Todd Nauck on both of those. And you can follow me on Facebook, Art of Todd Nauck. Look up the Art of Todd Nauck fan page. And yeah, so gang, thanks so much. Hopefully I'll see you again with more art videos real soon. Take care, everybody. Keep on drawing, keep having fun.